Hello, and welcome to COP Explained. Today, we going to answer some of your top questions about the UN climate change conferences of the parties, or COPs. First up, what are COPs, COPs, or conferences of the parties? Are official meetings held under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. This global treaty was established in 1992 to stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere at a level that would prevent dangerous human interference with the climate system. In essence, COPs are the main arena where countries meet to work towards this ultimate goal. Specifically, these gatherings bring together the 195 countries that are members of the UNFCCC, also called parties, to review progress in dealing with climate change and to assess how well countries are fulfilling their commitments. A major focus of the COPs is advancing the goals set out in the landmark Paris Agreement, which aims to keep the increase in global average temperatures as close as possible to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. During the COPs, countries make decisions on a wide range of issues related to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, adapting to climate change, and addressing climate-related losses and damages, particularly in vulnerable nations. They also discuss ways to support countries in meeting their climate goals through climate finance, technology transfer, and capacity building. Additionally, COPs provide a platform for sharing best practices, learning from one another, and fostering international cooperation to address the global challenge of climate change. Why are the COPs important? The COPs are extremely important for several reasons. First, they bring governments from around the world together to track progress and coordinate action on climate change. They provide a structured forum for countries to negotiate and implement effective solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change that are already being felt worldwide. Second, the COPs allow for flexibility in addressing climate change. They recognize that each country has unique circumstances and challenges, and that a one-size-fits-all approach is not effective. At the COPs, countries can share their experiences and learn from one another, while also tailoring their climate actions to their specific needs and priorities. Third, the COPs provide a platform for non-state actors, such as businesses, civil society, organizations, and individuals, to engage in climate discussions. This input helps ensure that climate policies are inclusive and reflect a wide range of perspectives and interests. By bringing together diverse stakeholders, the COPs can foster collaboration and innovation in developing climate solutions. Finally, the COPs are a crucial tool for building consensus and mobilizing political will to address climate change. They provide a high-level forum for heads of state and other government officials to make commitments and announce ambitious climate actions. The COPs also raise public awareness about climate change and the urgent need for action. They highlight the latest scientific findings and showcase innovative climate solutions, encouraging individuals, communities, and organizations to take action. In essence, the COPs are a vital mechanism for promoting international cooperation. Flexibility, inclusiveness, and political will to tackle the pressing issue of climate change effectively. How often are the COPs held? Initially, COPs were held annually, but as the process evolved and to allow for more in-depth work on specific topics, a 2-year cycle was established in 2010. Under this structure, the odd-numbered COPs focus on specific themes related to climate change, such as finance, technology, or adaptation. For instance, COP27 in Egypt focused on adaptation and resilience. Meanwhile, the even-numbered COPs primarily focus on the overall progress of climate negotiations and aim to finalize and adopt decisions that were discussed at the previous COP. For example, COP28 in Dubai, currently underway, is where countries are negotiating and discussing how to achieve the goals set out in the Paris Agreement. How are the COP hosts and presidents chosen? The selection process for the COP host country and president involves several steps. First, the incoming president of the COP is determined by a rotational system based on geographical representation. As mentioned before, there are 5 regional groups within the UNFCCC: Africa, Asia, Pacific, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and Western Europe, and others. Each region takes turns holding the presidency on a rotational basis. Following this, the regional group meets to decide which country from that region will host the COP. Once a country is selected, it must submit a hosting offer to the UNFCCC Secretariat. After the offer is approved, that country assumes the role of the COP host and is responsible for preparing and organizing the conference, including securing the venue, infrastructure, and essential services. The process for selecting the COP president is slightly different. As the head of the conference, the president plays a crucial role in guiding the negotiations and ensuring the smooth functioning of the COP. Each year, a different country holds the presidency and they act as the spokesperson for the conference. The president is responsible for overseeing the proceedings, interpreting the rules of procedure, and facilitating discussions among the parties. The COP president is elected by consensus at the beginning of the conference. Traditionally, the incoming president designate who represents the following year's COP works closely with the current president to ensure a seamless transition and continuity in the presidency. Are the COP host country and the COP president always the same? Historically, the host country for the COP generally holds the presidency. However, this isn't always the case. In some instances, the host country might not be able to fulfill the responsibilities associated with holding the presidency. Therefore, the presidency and the host country can be, but are not, necessarily the same. Does the UNFCCC have a conflict of interest policy for the COP president? The UNFCCC doesn't have a formal conflict of interest policy specifically for the COP president. However, the draft rules of procedure include a code of conduct that guides the president's behavior during the conference. According to Rule 22.3 of the draft rules of procedure, which is not formally adopted, but consistently applied, the COP president must act in a neutral capacity during the session and cannot represent their own country's position. However, this doesn't automatically disqualify them from participating in discussions concerning their country. What is the role of the COP host country? The COP host country plays a pivotal role in ensuring the success of the conference. They are responsible for providing the necessary resources, infrastructure, and support to facilitate a smooth and productive COP. Some of the key responsibilities of the host country include providing a suitable venue for the conference, such as a convention center or hotel that can accommodate the expected number of participants. Securing the venue entails making reservations and ensuring that it is available during the designated dates of the conference. Arranging for translation services in the 6 official UN languages, which are Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. This involves hiring interpreters and providing them with adequate preparation and facilities. To ensure accurate and timely translations during the conference. Establishing media facilities to facilitate the work of journalists and provide them with the necessary equipment and access to conference proceedings. Managing security outside the uncontrolled blue zone, which refers to the area where official conference activities take place. The host country's security forces are responsible for maintaining order and safety outside this designated zone, facilitating visa applications for participants from other countries and ensuring that they receive their visas in a timely manner, providing essential logistical support such as transportation, accommodation, and catering for conference participants. Actively engaging with both national governments and non-government participants to support the smooth planning and successful execution of the conference. In addition to these logistical responsibilities, the host country is also expected to promote the objectives of the COP and encourage international cooperation on climate change. What is the role of the COP president? The role of the COP president is crucial for the success of the conference. They are responsible for ensuring that the negotiations proceed smoothly and productively, and that decisions are made in a timely and efficient manner. Some of the key responsibilities of the COP president include overseeing the proceedings of the conference, including the opening and closing ceremonies, plenary sessions, and other official events. Interpreting and applying the rules of procedure to ensure that all decisions are made according to the established guidelines, facilitating discussions among the parties and encouraging them to reach consensus on critical climate issues, representing the COP at meetings and events outside the conference, such as press conferences and side events, working with the Secretariat to prepare documentation and other materials needed for the conference, ensuring that all parties have an opportunity to participate fully in the negotiations and that their interests are taken into account, upholding the highest standards of integrity, impartiality, and transparency in their actions and decisions. By effectively carrying out these responsibilities, the COP president contributes significantly to the overall success of the conference and the advancement of global climate action. What is the role of the UN Climate Change Secretariat in organizing the COPs? The UN Climate Change Secretariat, also known as the UNFCCC Secretariat, plays a vital role in organizing and facilitating the COPs. They are responsible for providing the necessary support and resources to ensure that the conferences run smoothly and effectively. Some of the key functions of the Secretariat include providing technical and logistical support to the COP president and other conference officials, preparing documentation and other materials needed for the negotiations, such as reports, presentations, and legal texts, facilitating communication and coordination among the various parties and stakeholders involved in the COP, managing the accreditation process for participants and ensuring that they have the necessary access to the conference facilities, arranging for interpretation and translation services to facilitate participation by parties speaking different languages, maintaining the integrity of the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement, and ensuring that all decisions are in accordance with the established rules of procedure, coordinating engagement with non-state actors such as businesses, civil society, and local governments through formal programs and multi-stakeholder dialogues. The Secretariat's role is crucial in ensuring that the COPs are inclusive, transparent, and effective in addressing the global challenge of climate change. I hope this Q&A has been helpful and provided clarity on the COPs and their significance in the global effort to address climate change. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in our next episode.